Hey friends, welcome to our winter wonderland here at Creekside. Yes, we got hit by the snow cyclone, whatever they were calling it, I don't know. But oh my goodness, we have a beautiful blanket of snow here at Creekside. Of course, we're in North Carolina, a zone 8A. We're just like 40 miles west of Charlotte. Y'all, it is absolutely spectacular. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take a snow tour. We're gonna go all over the property. We're gonna go up to production. We're gonna check on plants. You're gonna see the German Shepherd in all of her glory, because let me tell you, she is one happy puppy. A bunch of y'all have been asking if she's loving it. She is now. So we're going to do that. I'm going to give you a little inside behind the scenes scoop on the adventure that Megan and I had during this snowstorm. Dear heavens, the things the parents do for their children who we love and adore. It was an adventure that we had together, but it was so worth it, and it will be a weekend that she and I will never forget. So, of course, like, look, y'all. Isn't that glorious? Absolutely. This beautiful blanket of snow. I will say off the bat that everyone is safe. We are warm. We are toasty. As far as I know, the whole community as a whole, we are all good. It was snow, snow versus ice. Two very different things. So everybody is enjoying this snow. Roughly, depends on where you measure, we had between 9 to 12 inches of snow, which is by far the most snow we have had here, probably, I want to say probably close to 20 years since we've been here. Maybe at least 10, somewhere in that range, but it is beautiful. Let me show you. Let's go up to the chickens first, because oh my gosh, we've already been up there to feed them. They are just nothing but a bunch of chickens. Let me explain. All right, so making our way, let's go to the chickens. Making our way up to the chickens, like I said, German Shepherd, she absolutely loves this weather. She hasn't had a good snow since she was a puppy here. It's been 4 years since we've had a really good snow of any kind of significance. And to say she is in her element is an absolute understatement. But y'all, look at the landscape lighting. Isn't that cute? It literally stuck to everything. We did have a little bit of wind last night, just a little bit. So as you can see, it's as the wind blows, of course, it falls off the trees, but it was very much on the trees, not anything kind of to a dangerous level, but enough to make it absolutely gorgeous. And then of course with the, like this holly tree, right? Here we have Nellie Stevens hollies. Look at this. Isn't it great? And then, of course, the fun thing about snow is the things of color really show up. So here we have the, these are the firelight hydrangeas. And interesting fact is that, so of course, here's what we call Hydrangea Hill, and then the house, and our big bay window, that's our kitchen window. So when I sit on the couch at night, my viewpoint is through that window, and I can see this hill. And y'all, there were male cardinals in the hydrangeas, because I've got feeders all up here, and it was the prettiest sight you ever did see. Those beautiful bright red birds against the white snow. And speaking of birds, we just filled up our feeders, and I put some bark butter on the trees. So this is a fun way to feed those birds that actually like to eat directly off the trees. Cece, she is our resident bird expert, and so she turned me on to the bark butter. So if you see these little brown patches on the trees, then that's what it is. And then how cute is this one? I just put this one up, a little tongue-in-cheek. So of course, if you've got birds, you deal with squirrels trying to eat the feeders. And this is a hot suet, like a hot bird food. So they add tons of cayenne pepper so that the squirrels don't get to it. But the birds, of course, don't care. And so I thought this was really cute. It's a squirrel, but squirrels aren't allowed to eat it because it's super hot and they don't want it. So the chickens, they were they were hunkered down inside of their nesting area up here, because evidently when it was snowing, it was also the wind was blowing. And so when I came up here this morning inside, you can see like underneath, it was completely white. And if you know anything about chickens, they are a bunch of scaredy cats and they would not come out. So I had to come through and kind of scratch up the snow to show them that it's okay. It is safe. They can come out. So of course, I gave them some extra feed, some little treats, and opened up their water because it was frozen. So they were out, but they have now gone back in and hunkered down. So quite funny. But yeah, so there you go. Snow blowing in the wind, which makes it fun. Tonight's low depends on what forecast you look at. Some say 8, some say 4, and one says 2. So yay for us. But like, look at the shade garden. I know it doesn't look like a shade garden, but look at all of the color and the texture. Even in the snow, you've got the Florida sunshine alyssiums. They are popping out with their color. I thought this was just so neat. The stump that we have up here for some stumpery. Doesn't that look cool with that gnarly texture with the snow on the roots and everything? Just so fun. I dropped some of the bark butter at the base of this tree when I was putting it on, and Brenna smells it, so she's having a little snack. It is all good. It's like peanuts, and it has beef tallow fat in it, so it has really high and rich in protein for the birds, which of course they need all the help they can get in these cold temperatures. So yeah, let's move on. And I think Jerry's going to join us. He was looking for our snow boots. We had packed away our snow boots because obviously we don't use them very much. So he is out looking for the snow boots. Hopefully he finds them because our toesies are a little chilly. I just love seeing everything covered in snow. I know y'all are so supportive of us Southerners' fascination with the snow because, of course, we have viewers from all over the country and the world. And even my friends from Minnesota and Michigan and all the fun things, you're all like, yeah, this is common for us, but we appreciate your excitement because this is just so incredibly rare. But you can see, I mean, we have got like, dare I say, little drifts of snow right here, and of course the garden boxes. So everybody is snuggled in. We've got the kale and all sorts of things in there, so they're all snuggled in, and the wall right here, and just the boxwoods. Oh, so much fun. So this morning, Brenna started whining in her crate because she had to go out and go potty. And it was still, I don't know, it was like 6:30 or something. So it was still kind of dark outside because it was cloudy. It's obviously not now. So I went out on the front porch and I obviously let her out to go potty. And y'all, I don't know if you know, so today is Sunday. I don't even know what day it is. Today is Sunday, and evidently tonight, last night, sometime around here very soon, is a full moon. And the moon was setting down by the garden center. Oh my gosh, I got the camera. We'll see if I can show you some good pictures. I'm not very good at taking pictures at night, but it was the most gorgeous thing, seeing this big, huge, fat orange moon and then shining out on the white of the snow. Oh, I know snow for some of y'all, and depends on your situation, right? Can be quite annoying and challenging and frustrating and all the things, especially when the wind starts to blow like it is right now. But we got to stop and appreciate the beauty, right? I mean, it is absolutely glorious and beautiful. And then when you got a little fur ball or you have kids that love the snow, it is just a definite source of entertainment. So she's been going around and she hasn't started rolling in it yet. Normally she'll start to roll, but she's been kind of chewing on it and biting it and just having the absolute most fun. But look at this. This is how much snow, like you can barely see. So she is standing on the pathway to the front porch. And as you know, we have the edging and you really cannot see where that edging is. And then the boxwoods, the butterfly bushes at the base of the Electra Blue. And Electra Blue, obviously I have left the Christmas lights on it, and it is I took some pictures of it this morning too. I don't know how those came out, but it was absolutely gorgeous covered in snow. And this is one of those trees that was covered in snow, but it's now the wind is kind of blowing it off. And then if that doesn't make you smile, I don't know what does. Oh my gosh, she's so excited. And then you can see that I had trimmed back my firelight tidbits, and you can see the little sticks just poking up. Yep, so definitely got the snow and or it blew over here. I'm not sure which one. And so I'm gonna try to walk through here because there's a curb somewhere. Okay, there it is. And then of course we've got shrubs in here. Okay. But look, oh my goodness, y'all, seriously, look at this. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you. Like, look at my feet. This is just crazy. So much fun. Okay, so then here on the corner of the house, we have the Hortsman, and it definitely was just covered in snow. You can see I have not trimmed these hydrangeas yet. They've got their little heads still sticking up and above, but everything is just so pretty. And of course, here we had a week ago, it's been exactly a week, we had kind of that icy sleet come through. Such a completely different look this time around, but for us to have snow and then Carolina blue sky and the snow's not melting, like nothing is melting. That's how chilly it is right now. That is just such a rare occurrence. And then can you see that oak tree, the big oak tree above the driveway that still has tons of snow on it? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So he did not find the snow boots. That's okay. We have waterproof boots on. They're just not as warm as the snow boots. So let's continue with the tour as he drives off. We are going to go up to production here in just a minute. We have a little bit of an issue. He's going to go address that. Nothing major right now. So we're going to go figure that out here in a second. But let's keep on going through the garden. It's so pretty. Y'all, look at this. Isn't this just so cool? You gotta stop and appreciate the simple little beauty. Like the cute little yard art that I have of the butterfly on the stakes, and then you got snow, and then the wind's blowing and it's moving. Like, how cute is that? Lovely. And then look at the forest pansy tree with all the snow that's still in it. Some of it has blown off, and yeah, so I mean, again, look at the yard art with the little snow caps in it. Oh, so much fun. Okay, let's keep on going around here. And yeah, so my containers, because we talked about this on the video with the ice and preparing for storms and stuff in winter. Some of my containers I will protect, and then some of them I don't. Like these guys, like I've got a Japanese maple, I've got euchres in here. They're tough, they're fine. It is not a problem. I do need to come and clean off the bird bath because obviously no birds are being able to get any water. So that's another thing we need to think about with our sweet little feathery friends is not only do they need food, but they need water. So I will come back later and then take care of that. But I was able last night, Jerry grilled some burgers for us. And I know it may sound weird to have grilled burgers, but it was easy. And so that's what we had for supper last night. And I came out and it was that kind of that twilight and the landscape lights had turned on, and oh my gosh, now I didn't venture off the porch, but it was the prettiest picture with the landscape lighting turned on, reflecting in the snow. Of course, we've got the fountain that's just looking lovely, and then trying to remember like where the pathway is. So you can see obviously we've got quite a few shrubs that are heavy laden with the snow. Y'all, they'll be fine, right? That is not a problem whatsoever. And so like my gardenia, it's kind of weighed down right now. And again, it'll come back just fine. Like these gardenias right here, they are as well. And then with the lanterns, of course, these are from One Eared Cow. So it's the hand-blown glass that is, they're actually lights. And they're not solar power. They're connected to the landscape lighting, and they were gorgeous. And then I have got finches. I don't know if the camera's going to show it, but there are finches, and I've got Carolina chickadees, all because I've got a suet feeder in the cherry tree, and then I have a nut feeder in the maple tree over there, and then one in the forest pansy behind me. And so the trees are absolutely alive with the birds. Well, come on, what you doing up there? This part of the garden, of course, we have got, this is the diamond spire gardenia. Then I have got white shishi camellias right here and sprinter boxwoods. Everybody is completely covered. I am not worried. I'm just going to leave them alone. This is the warmest part of the garden, so you can already see we have a little bit of snow melt because of the sun hitting the stone, and or it took forever for it to actually accumulate right here because it was warm. So these guys will bounce back just fine. If nobody does, which I'm not worried they will, I prune them gently in late winter, early spring, so I can address any kind of weird shape issue at that point. And then Brenna has not touched this yet. So she's not made tracks through here, but yeah, so the birds are just nuts. I think I counted up, I believe I have like 15, 16 different feeders on the property. And so they are, I've got them in the front. That's what she's paying attention to right now because she sees the birds. She goes more after squirrels than birds, but yeah, the birds are really happy right now. The dangerous part is with all this snow, you really don't know where the steps are. So you just kind of feel your way and go for it. But then again, if you fall, it's nice and fluffy, so we're good. All right, let's walk over to the garden. As y'all that have snow know, the fun thing is to come through and to look at the tracks to see what was here. And because obviously there is evidence, obviously it's got to be a bird because they start and stop in different areas, but it's so fun to see, you know, what's been around and what's going on. And like, look at all these little tracks over here. Like, what in the world? So much fun. But y'all, you know it is cold here in North Carolina. One, when the pond freezes over. So yes, pond is frozen, and it is basically frozen all the way up to the most protected spot, which is the mouth of the pond underneath that holly tree, because the spring comes from right there. So it is frozen, but I actually saw ice in the creek. I don't know that I've ever seen ice in the creek, not at least that I remember. So yeah, it's quite chilly. And then some of you may be wondering, don't you even think about it, Missy. Yeah, that's all I need, is a German Shepherd going into a ice-covered pond. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Brenna, I don't know if she smells something, but yeah, where are Jackson and Megan? Well, and then Emily, of course. Emily's still at school, so she stayed at school. They have power. Everybody's doing good. Jackson and Megan, yeah, that's the thing about having teenagers. They're still in the bed. Yeah, at least when I left the house, they were still in the bed. Brenna is my toddler. So she is, of course, always ready to go outside no matter what the time of day is. But when we had the storm last week, I told Jerry, I was like, you know, you have arrived as a parent and that your kids are getting older when there is white precipitation on the ground and they are still in the bed and not up at the crack of dawn to be outside playing and doing all the things. Now, yesterday, Jackson was outside and having quite the time of his life, evidently. Megan and I... So we were on an adventure of our own. Megan is our middle child, and so she is a senior in high school. And if you know senior in high school, what that means, yes, college applications, decisions time. So she got accepted to High Point University in High Point, North Carolina. And not only did she get accepted, she got accepted to a bunch of schools, but not only did she get accepted, but she also was nominated for the Presidential Scholars. And so this is various different levels of scholarships that High Point will award students. And so that involved us going to High Point for a weekend, because it was a weekend long interview type situation. So she and I left here Friday morning. Everything's good. We obviously knew the storm was coming, so we were well prepared. We knew the storm was coming. What I do appreciate High Point, and they're like, nope, we said we're doing this. It is all go. We're not canceling the event. So we went up there on Friday, took a tour, did all the things, had dinner. They had a huge dinner on Friday night, did all that. And it was a huge event. There was like 1,500 people there, between students and then family members that came with us, that came with them. And then Saturday, we were there at early in the morning, and then that was more talking, more all the things, right? Knowing about the university and all the things. And then she had her interview. Well, Saturday morning around 4:30 or so, it started snowing, and it did not stop. So by the time we got to the university, everything was covered. They did an amazing job clearing everything and doing all of their best. But so Megan and I were there. I kept telling her, I was like, Megan, you're never going to forget this weekend for a ton of reasons, because of course she had to be in business dress. And so all the students were all dressed to the nines in their professional business attire, walking around in the snow and the wind. They had shuttles. I mean, they literally took great care of us, but still, right? It was what it was. So thankfully her interview time was at like 10:30, which was the first one. So we knew that we were planning on coming back yesterday. So she did her interview. We went and talked to her advisor. We did a couple of things, and then we got in the car and drove home. So a normal hour-and-a-half drive took us close to 4 hours coming home. And so I drove, and so we have our Suburban, and so it has four-wheel drive. The car did great. I went to school at Appalachian, so it came back to me as far as having to drive in the snow. Driving in the snow versus driving in the ice, very, very different situations. But going down the interstate, it's interstate the entire way. So yeah, so a 4-hour drive, and there were parts where I could not see the road between the white snow, the blowing snow. I mean, it was a little stressful situation, but praise the Lord, he got us home safe and sound. So we were so ready to be home at like 4 o'clock yesterday. And so we missed the snow coming down here at the house, but waking up, we get to enjoy it here. So there you go. As a side note, Megan did go ahead and commit to High Point. We are super excited about that. So we now have a panther in the family. I told Brenna, I was like, now you got a feline in the family, so you're gonna have to deal with that. All right, so let's go up to production by way of Mimi's. We'll walk up that way. Let me show you what's going on at production. And yeah, it's always a beautiful adventure here at Creekside. Alrighty, so we're gonna make our way up to production, but we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna make our way via Mimi. So we are, look at Pine Hollow. I tell you what. So the big humps right here is before the storm. So last week, Jackson had brought some really good, beautiful compost-rich soil and put it right there. So that's for us to make, of course, those new beds that we're going to be doing here. Between the mailbox, moving the mailbox, all that stuff. That project is still a go. It's just got pushed back. Imagine that here at Creekside. So we were in Mimi's garden with the snow sleet storm. So just to kind of give you a little bit of a different perspective on how everything looks with the snow versus the sleet and ice, still doing great. She's got her agave here, such fun structure. This agave really is a tough one. I forget exactly which one it is. I'm sure she can tell me. But this, it should be fine, especially even tonight with it getting down crazy cold. The snow should help insulate it. So it should be okay. And then look at her Harry Lauder walking stick. Of course, we love Harry Lauders for their winter interest. But look at that. Oh my gosh, such a beautiful contorted shrub. In the summertime, you can't see those stems because they're covered in these big, huge leaves. But in the wintertime, my goodness, that is when it shines. And then look at her. I don't know if this is a butterfly, a grasshopper. I don't know what it is. But look, it is the perfect little yard art to catch the snow for sure. So her garden definitely shines even in the snow because of all the structure and everything. We looked at this yucca and then the stump with the sleet, and still just magnificent and doing well. So we'll just walk by here and go on up to production. And I love, like, look at the walnut trees. So we obviously call this the walnut field for obvious reasons because these are all walnut trees, but how the snow's in the trees. And the pines, look. So don't want to be standing under this garden or in this garden rather, when today with this wind blowing, because all of that's just going to come toppling down on your head. But my gosh, it sure is pretty. All right, so we trekked our way through the snow up here to production. Jerry's up here. I just told him, I was like, my gosh, get you a little cardio workout trekking through the snow and then having on all these layers. I'm ready to start shedding some clothes. Brenna's panting, but made it up here, and he just said that, so there's a couple of little problems. Overall, doing great, so not too worried. But that one of the heaters kept tripping the breaker, so he figured that out. But again, that's why if you're
trying to unfreeze the well.
do what?
Space heater trying to unfreeze the well.
Oh, that's what was tripping it. Oh, so the well froze. So he had a space heater in the little well house trying to thaw the well, and then that's what kept tripping it. But if he hadn't checked it, then the greenhouses, the heaters wouldn't have cut on. So, you know, I'm not telling y'all anything that you don't know, but if you're in any kind of form of agriculture, whether it's farming with plants or you've got animals or anything, whatever it is, you know there are no true like snow days for us. In fact, sometimes, especially with animals, it causes more work than not. So let's take a little walk and look at the snow and then go inside the greenhouses, because while Megan and I were away yesterday and Friday at High Point, they were busy little bees here. So let's go check on everybody. There you go, my friends. And as Jerry said, it looks different with the snow on it. Oh, I wish there were smell-o-vision, because if you've been in a greenhouse or familiar with a greenhouse and the fragrance of the greenhouse, yes, I said fragrance, that damp soil plants, oh, that's what it smells like. So, like I said, they were busy little beavers while we were gone. They have got almost an entire bay filled with the proven winter annuals that came in right before the snow, and then of course all the perennials over there. But yes, there's a different look to the greenhouse with the snow. So Jerry, I'm gonna get close to you because he doesn't have a mic on. He doesn't know this, but somebody had made a comment, and it was a really smart comment, asking why we have our greenhouses are so like tall. So would it not be better if they were like shorter to help hold in the heat? And like, why do we have all this infrastructure of the greenhouse? Why are they so tall, and why do we have all the structure?
It does help us on the opposite end of all things when it gets hot in the summer, because these sides go up almost, that's 12 foot, 10 foot. So this entire space in the summer, the heat, you know, even though it is a little bit warmer, it's way better than a hoop house. Hoop house, yeah, of course, holds that heat down really tight, which can be good and bad for growing plants. We like to grow cool and dry with like all our super bells, super petunias. You'll see that we have them all planted up against the wall. It's cooler over here. So hopefully, if the weather, you know, does what it's supposed to do sometime in March, all of these super bells, super petunias, and super minas will go outside this bay right here on the outside. So yeah, and it gives you more room if you were doing hanging baskets and all that, but it does allow that heat to rise up, which can cause you, you know, it's harder to get it warmer down here, but that's not really a big deal for us. And
we're North Carolina, so our window of being really cold is pretty darn short. And so we're more concerned about getting the heat out in the summer. Yeah. But
and if you just look in here, we're doing all kinds of things in here. We've got our machine in here, we have soil in here. You cannot do that kind of work in a small, squatty hoop house.
Right, and it was, and also, so when we built the other two production houses, Greenhouse 1 and 2, we actually bought, quote, the package, that's the snow load package, because that's where we put our hanging baskets. And so you have to have all that infrastructure, the support to hold the baskets, because they're so heavy when they're wet. But for folks who get this kind of snow and or a lot more, then they would need it to hold the snow up.
Yeah, and then like we did with this is the super arch from Atlas Greenhouses. So we just went ahead and spent the extra money on the square tubing and the extra spacing of your rafters. You know, so the arch that goes from gutter to gutter.
Yep.
There's squares that are round, which is stronger, and there's more of them going from the front to the back. So nothing to worry about yesterday. So I was just like, whew, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, one thing we didn't have to worry about that. All right, I'm getting out of this greenhouse because I am sweating with all these clothes on. All right, so Jerry's gonna start getting some of the snow off, but he was kind enough to let me come up here and film before he started removing snow. So these are the two houses we were just talking about that have the snow arch package to them, and you can see like he has done nothing to them. They are both, I think, yes, they're both heated right now because they both have annuals in them, and so they are being heated. But if you can see, because of the arch that they have, just the sun alone and then gravity is doing its thing and letting that all of that melt and fall off. The quote problem maybe is that right there. So you got two greenhouses, and if obviously we're going to have the automated sides are going to be turned off. They're not on, but if they were to turn on, that would cause a problem because everything is coming down right here. And then with the temperatures of anywhere between 8 and 10 tonight, of course this is not going anywhere, and it will freeze. It's going to be forever before it melts. That is true. So here we go in here. This is of course where the quote the hothouse is right now. You can tell which side gets more sun because of the snow that has gone off. But we have got, oh, Miss Priss wants to be let in. Let's see. So the perennials, the shrubs are doing great. The hot weather annuals are doing great. The new perennials that are going to be out in 2027. They're all potted up and sprouting and doing wonderful. There's some in there I can't show you, so we're not going to look at close at that. But yeah, so look at these babies. Look at that. Those lantanas, they are growing. So this is lemon tart. Very happy. We have got, let's see, who else is being a little overachiever right now? Avovulus is definitely growing. Some of them are growing a little bit more than others. That's all right. That's normal. And yeah, so then we've got the Angelonia down here. I bet it's a super. I would suspect the ones here on the corner because they are getting quite, look at that. No, it's not. I apologize. I underestimated the Wedgwood pink, but they are growing. So we did that, of course, to keep, these are those hot weather plants, really kind of crank up the heat in here and get them going before we send them out to all of our warm weather folks. But noticing, we were talking about the snow load, the snow arch, so it's all that extra bracing and all of that. So if you were in an area that had a lot of snow, or if you're like us, don't really get snow, but you do a lot of hanging baskets, then this is able to support all that weight. Alrighty, my friends. So I am going to, we're going to go back to Mimi's actually and just go hang out with her and chit chat for a little bit. I am sure she will give me a nice cup of hot tea. Mimi does enjoy her hot tea. So we're going to go have a hot cup of tea with Mimi and just give her all the life updates of things that are going on. But anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out with us in our snowy garden. I tell you, it's always fun and an adventure around here. And here comes my daddy. He's out trekking in his machine. And and then, you know, they have their dog, their Doberman, Rosie. So Brenna and Rosie are currently nose to nose saying hello to each other. Rosie tolerates Brenna. So Rosie's about 2 years older than Brenna. And bless her heart, she, you know, we got Brenna and she had this wild German Shepherd puppy. So she tolerates her. But anyway, I digress. Real life happening here, folks. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us and coming along this adventure. Like I said, snow never gets old for a Southerner, especially when they have electricity. So, and there's no damage. Like, you can just truly like enjoy the winter wonderland. And as Jerry said, this ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So the only parts that I see any kind of melting would be like on the greenhouses. So you have a structure or some sort of stone, and that the sun is hitting it, and or if there were tracks, that are in the sun. But with the cold temperatures tonight and in the coming days, yeah, not going anywhere anytime soon. So we're going to enjoy it as long as we can. Somebody said, commented and said, Jenny, you have our Minnesota weather. And I'm like, yeah, come pick it up by Tuesday, please. Because by then we will be done with it. We'll be like, okay. But anyway, it is fun and we're enjoying it. Y'all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Snow will probably still be here, but we'll see you. All right, my friends, stay warm. Take care of each other. I'm going to go hang out with my mama. Love you guys. Bye.